Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. The pilot, Captain James, was preparing for another routine flight when he noticed a new air hostess, Emily, boarding the plane. She exuded confidence and appeal, and James couldn't help but feel a stirring in his loins as he watched her move gracefully down the aisle, greeting passengers with a bright smile. As the flight took off, James found himself stealing glances at Emily whenever he could. Her uniform hugged her curves in all the right places, accentuating her ample back and shapely hips. He couldn't deny the attraction he felt towards her, even as he tried to focus on flying the plane. During a lull in the flight, Emily approached James in the cockpit with a mischievous glint in her eye. "Captain, would you mind helping me with something?" she asked, her voice low and sultry. Intrigued, James nodded, wondering what the beautiful air hostess had in mind. Emily produced a spare air hostess uniform from her bag and held it out to James. "I thought it might be fun to see you in my outfit," she purred. James hesitated, his heart pounding in his chest. The idea of wearing a woman's uniform was both thrilling and terrifying, but he found himself unable to resist Emily's persuasive charm. With a shaky hand, he took the uniform and disappeared into the cockpit restroom to change. As James stripped out of his pilot uniform and into Emily's air hostess outfit, he couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement coursing through him. The silky fabric clung to his skin in all the right places, making him feel strangely powerful and vulnerable at the same time. When he emerged from the restroom, Emily's eyes widened in appreciation. "Wow, Captain, you look absolutely stunning," she breathed, her gaze lingering on his now feminine figure. James blushed, feeling a surge of arousal at her words. As the flight continued, Emily took the lead, guiding James through the cabin as if he were the air hostess and she the pilot. James felt a thrill of exhilaration at the role reversal, his heart pounding with each step he took in Emily's high heels. The passengers looked on in surprise as James served drinks and snacks with a newfound grace and femininity, his cheeks flushed with embarrassment and arousal. Emily watched him with a knowing smile, enjoying the power she held over the once authoritative pilot. As the flight approached its destination, Emily led James back to the cockpit, where she closed the door behind them with a soft click. The tension between them was palpable, the air crackling with unspoken desire. Without a word, Emily pushed James back against the pilot's seat and straddled his lap, her hands roaming over his now feminine body with a hunger that matched his own. James moaned in pleasure, unable to resist the intoxicating allure of the air hostess who had feminized him in the most unexpected way. Their bodies moved together in a dance of passion and submission, each touch igniting a fire that burned hotter with each passing moment. James surrendered himself completely to Emily, allowing her to take him to heights of ecstasy he had never known before. As the plane touched down and the passengers disembarked, James and Emily remained locked in a passionate embrace, lost in a world of their own making. In that moment, they were no longer pilot and air hostess, but two souls bound together by a forbidden desire that defied all logic and reason. While they wait for the passengers to board off and the new passengers to board in, Emily decided it's now time to take it a notch further, and takes out her makeup kit to further feminize the captain. With the cockpit door securely locked, Emily retrieved her makeup kit from her bag and gestured for James to sit in the pilot's seat. "Let's complete your transformation, Captain," she whispered, her voice laced with seduction. James obeyed, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation as Emily began to apply makeup to his face. She expertly accentuated his features, enhancing his eyes with smoky eyeshadow and giving his lips a glossy sheen. With each brush stroke, James felt himself slipping further into the role of the air hostess, his reflection in the cockpit window a vision of femininity. As Emily finished her ministrations, she stepped back to admire her handiwork. James looked at his reflection in awe, hardly recognizing the woman staring back at him. He turned to Emily, his eyes filled with a mix of desire and gratitude. Without a word, Emily leaned in and captured James' lips in a searing kiss, her hands exploring his now feminine form with a hunger that matched his own. James responded eagerly, his body aflame with need as they moved together in a dance of passion and submission. Their clothes soon lay forgotten on the cockpit floor, the barriers between them crumbling as they gave in to their primal desires. James reveled in the sensation of Emily's touch, her hands and lips igniting a fire within him that consumed all rational thought. As their bodies moved in perfect harmony, James and Emily reached the peak of their shared ecstasy. Moans of pleasure filled the confined space of the cockpit, mingling with the hum of the plane's engines as they surrendered to the throes of passion. In a crescendo of desire, James and Emily found release together, their bodies trembling with the intensity of their shared climax. Waves of pleasure washed over them, leaving them breathless and spent in the aftermath of their forbidden union. As the plane landed at its destination, James and Emily emerged from the cockpit, their faces flushed with the remnants of their intimate encounter. They exchanged a knowing glance, a silent acknowledgement of the bond they had forged in the heat of the moment. With a whispered promise to meet again, James and Emily went their separate ways, each carrying the memory of their shared passion with them. In that brief moment of connection, they had transcended their roles as pilot and air hostess, finding solace and release in each other's arms. And as the plane prepared for its next flight, James couldn't help but wonder what other surprises awaited him in the skies above, knowing that wherever his journey took him, Emily would always hold a special place in his heart.